We got a lot of great stuff from OBSBOT, including a 360 rotating battery charger. We've got the UVC to NDI option. We've got the Tail Air remote. And then, of course, the biggest thing, the OBSBOT SRT protocol on the Tail Air. We're going to talk about it next on Geekazine. What's up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine. Think magazine, put in a geek, and you got me. Today, we're going to be talking about all things OBSBOT, OBSBOT. It is a company that's been out for many years. I first saw them in 2018 when I saw their first tail, and of course their newest Tail Air has been a very popular camera for a lot of video creators out there. And they've got a lot of great features, a lot of great new stuff. We're going to unbox some of the cool stuff that we got from OBSBOT, and we're going to show you a feature in SRT, Secure Reliable Transport. This is the ability where you can take this camera and then move it to a different part of the house and then have a network connection to your computer or another place. You could even go across the country, and I'm going to show you how we did that with this little guy right here. But first, I'm going to show you all the cool products from OBSBOT. Let's start with the simple OBSBOT remote control for the Tail Air. Want to step in here and give you the full disclosure. Of course, OBSBOT had sent these products to me, but they are not sponsoring this video. All opinions are of Geekazine, and I have a full review section over at geekazine.com/review, which you can check out. If you've got a product that you want me to take a look at, all you have to do is contact me through the contact on the page, and we'll take a look at your product. So let's go ahead and unbox this now. And we're just gonna open it up, take out the tape, and there we go. So, and there we are. Okay, perfect. Simple user manuals and all the guides and everything like that. Inside here, what we've got, the remote, and we've got the cable. So we got a cable that's USB-C to A right there. And then the remote itself. Let's take a look at the remote. We got a power button. It looks like this can switch between cameras. We'll find that out as we go. We got a snapshot button up here like a camera. And then we've got the record. We've got the PTZ joystick right there. Underneath, we've got P1, P2, P3. I'm not sure what this button up here is for. On the side here, we have our zoom in, zoom out. And then I'm guessing that this is an on-off button right here. It looks like there's a laser in here, and there's the laser up there. So I'm guessing if we hit one of these buttons, we're going to get a laser light coming out of it. On this side, it looks like a way to connect up the OBSBOT to something, and I'm not exactly sure what that is right now. We do have a USB-C connection right there, so that's how you charge it. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the camera. And then once it's on, we're going to hit the back button 3 times really quick. And then that should cause this light to flash blue. And that's when we know it's ready to pair. So let's go ahead and turn it on. Wait till it gets that green light. In the back where the power button is, all you have to do is press it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. It'll start to flash blue. The remote's ready to pair. There's a person button right here, right on this lower arc. And then, of course, you choose the camera that you want from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down that person button. We've got a blue light on the remote, and then we're going to hold down the 1, and it's going to blink, and then it's going to go for the pair. And once it's paired, it should get green. There we go. And now that's green, and now this is green. And with that, if we press on here, now we can use this as our remote. If you got a second one, or the third, or the fourth, turn it on, and this button is gonna stay green as long as it's got the connection with this one. So now we're gonna wait for it to turn green. There we go. We're gonna hit the button in the back 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now it's flashing. We're gonna hold down the person button and the 2 till this blue light flashes. And now it's going to slow and it's going to stop. And then the 2 light's going to show up, and then that's going to turn green. So green is, I'm guessing that once we press that, there we go, we can control 2. And as you can see, the button is now changed green whereas this one's white. So we're going to go back over to 1. It's going to switch. So that's the camera that you're on. And we'll flip back. And now we're on to this camera. So that's pretty cool. I found out that this button up here actually switches to the picture-in-picture, which is interesting. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. And then we do have some sort of laser light down below. That is the Tail Air remote for whatever you need to control your tail airs. Of course, you can also control it through other software, but this seems to be the easiest way. And then when you need to charge it, just USB-C and set it on the charger for a little bit, and then go from there. And of course, when you're done, go ahead and turn it off by disabling it through the side there, and you're good to go. All right. So that is the OBSBOT Tail Air remote. And another game changer coming from OBSBOT. This is the UVC to NDI adapter. And we're going to show you how you can take your regular OBSBOT. Doesn't matter which version of OBSBOT Tiny you have. You can put it in here and send it out via NDI to your computer. So what we've got here is the OBSBOT UVC to NDI adapter. So like I said, what it does is it allows you to set it up to a small camera. Like for instance, we have the Tiny 2 right here, and we're going to be using that to connect up. And so what we can do is we can take this camera, put it in this box. This box then uses NDI. That'll go to the machine, and we'll see that as we go. So to begin with, let's go ahead and unbox this. And it's fairly straightforward. Just have to take out tape here. There we go. And then let it slide out. There we are. We've got our user guide and all our remote paperwork and everything like that. We've got the OBSBOT device here. Pretty solid construction. And then underneath, it looks like we have a USB-C to C cable, and we have a C to A adapter. Let's take a look at this. On this side, it looks like we have Ethernet. It is power over Ethernet. Right here is a micro SD card slot, so you can record right from this unit. You got a 1/4-inch mount over here to put it on a tripod, and I'm guessing, yep, on the other side, we also have the 1/4-inch mount. So we could actually put this on the camera like so. On the other side, we have 3 items, and they're all USB. One is going to go to the camera. One is going to be USB power. And then the third is going to be a USB-A remote plug. So if you've got an OBSBOT remote, you can definitely plug it in here. One more thing to note here is on top, we've got a tally light option. So it'll flash. I will see what it flashes when it's active. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this Tiny 2, and we're going to get the case because we need to get the cable here. There we go. And then we're going to grab the Ethernet cable. Now this, once again, this is connected up to a PoE switch. So this should automatically power it up. So let's go ahead and click that in. And there is a fan inside. Notice that there were vents on this side and this side where the mounting screws are. So keep that in mind. That needs to be left open. We do have lights that are showing us that it's working. The SD card light right there, I'm guessing that is. It just blue and now it's green, so I'm guessing that it is good to go. No other lights, including that tally light, are on just yet. So I'm guessing that once we go, then the tally light will show up. Notice on the OBSBOT that it is working, so we've got a power there. So now I'm going to go and hook this up into, it should be seeing the NDI connection here. So let's go ahead and hit add input. It's just showing an NDI adapter and then a number. That is your NDI device. We'll switch it up. But here, let's go ahead and quick play it. So now we're running through the Tiny, through the NDI device. You'll notice that this device now has a red tally that says that it is working. And I'm guessing that if I switch over to here, yep, that tally light just turned green, as you can see there. So let's switch back over here. And now that tally light is red. So simple as that. Really straightforward to connect, as you can see. As for the audio, we can definitely turn off the audio here and turn it on over here. Hold on a second. Now you're hearing it from the Tiny 2 through here, through the NDI. So that can be totally controlled through that. Let's switch back. And once again, there's a way to record it. So I'm guessing there's also a way to get this up on the screen. This is the page right here. It assigned an IP address and it's giving me the admin. There we go. All right, so what we got here, it says there's no SD card inside, of course. We've got the NDI adapter. I'm assuming that we can change information in here like names and networks. We can get an auto configured IP or manual configuration. We can control our PTZ camera through this remote right here. So, and yeah, I don't have a way to show you that at the same time. We can adjust our image. This looks a lot like their app that you can download, and I'm not exactly sure if you can control the app from there, but at least this is some sort of remote control. Now, the other thing is I do have PTZ control on this camera. So let's go over here. Let me go into the settings. Let's see if we can get the PTZ to work. Okay, it's not even doing UVC PTZ. Now I will not be able to convert that or fix that to work with a remote control other than the remote control inside the app. It is what it is. So, but basically this is the OBSBOT UVC to NDI box, and it's working fairly well. Of course, it is NDI HX3 compatible, so we can definitely put a lot of different cameras on here and play around with what we're going to be using for webcams.
Let's move on. Let's talk about this 360-degree swivel base for your tail air with dual batteries inside.
The OBSBOT Tail 360 rotation device. So basically what this is you need an OBSBOT Tail Air 2 to use this, but we'll show you how that works. And what that does is it gives you 360 degrees of rotation. The camera itself only goes to a certain point, and then this will take it over the line so you can actually do 360 spins on this camera. Plus, it's got 2 extra batteries and it's a charging base. So you can get hours of extended use, up to 7 hours. So if you're recording like a band or if you're recording a presentation and you don't want to have wires going all the way to it, you can get it going. It's got 2 extra batteries to it, and this is a full charge hub that comes with it. You'll see it in a second here. Before we get the unboxing, I do have to tell you that you need 2 other things for this device. The first thing is you need an OBSBOT Tail Air. Simple as that. And then I highly recommend, if you're not going to be using any type of software to remote it, get the Tail Air remote. Now, I'm going to be doing some unboxings of this one, and we've got a video on the OBSBOT Tail Air unboxing before. All right, let's go ahead and unbox this. Take out a couple of these right there and down here. There we go. Slide up like that. There we go. Perfect. Let's take a look at what we got inside here. First of all, we've got the user guide where it explains everything. We have a nicely designed unit here. A little tab. We'll pull this up. We got the 360 unit right here. We've got the power discs. These are what's going to charge this base right here. And then we have a charge base for these batteries. And then finally, we have a cable that will charge here. Inside here, these are the batteries that basically will go on both sides of the unit. So they slide in like this and click in, slide in like this and click in. We've got a good charge on there. We've got 3 lights. Let's take a closer look at what we've got in here. We have the power button right here. We have, of course, the batteries went right here. And to pop them out, there's a little button on the bottom. So you just basically push that down and slide that out and then click it back in. We do have 3 out of 4 lights. So this is about 60 to 75% charged on both of these batteries. So we can get some stuff done here. We got the power button in the front. Of course, the other battery. On the back, we have USB-C charge. This is for charging only. And the reason why I say that is because there's some accessories you can put into the OBSBOT Tail Air. Like for instance, USB to Ethernet. I don't think you can actually plug that in here, but we're going to test it out just to make absolutely sure. On the bottom here, like I showed you, are the two clips so you can get out those batteries. And as you can see, we have a pin configuration. So I'm not sure if we could actually stack these on top of each other or if there's other accessories that are going to come soon. On the tails, you'll actually see the pin configuration once we pull it out. On the top, that's the rotating base right there. We have that same pin configuration. And then we have a center item. It looks like you can put some sort of screw in there. So if you really wanted to tie down your OBSBOT, you can. I did not see any type of screw in here unless we have it in this bag. Nope. All we got in this bag, this was the USB cable. We got a USB-C to C cable, and then of course a C to A adapter. You can get some sort of mounting screw for that tripod screw that doesn't come with this. So with that said and done, let's come back here. We're going to take our tail air. See those pins on the bottom here? All we have to do is take those pins and it magnetically sets. And it does a good job of magnetically setting. You can see that. There we go. We finally got it off. As you can see, it's spinning this thing around and around and around and around and around and around. Interesting. So let's go ahead and turn the power on. So we hold down the power and all those blue lights, you can see this spinning now. This is just indicated it's my second OBSBOT Air. And then I'm not sure if this is turning on. Yeah, this did not turn on the OBSBOT. It's showing that we've got power going from here to here. So now I'm gonna have to turn on the tail air and I'm gonna pull my phone out to get control, or we can use the remote. I forgot to charge the remote. So we'll just use the phone because we can. I got the OBSBOT software loading up and I can connect up to my camera here. So there it is right there, ready to go. And all I have to do is pull up the PTZ option. It's got the gimbal and view. So let's go ahead and you notice how it's turning the base and it's turning the head. All the function doesn't come from the camera anymore for the pan. It comes from the base. It's being a little bit difficult because it's only letting me going a little bit at a time. I think it's because this is the first time that it's hooked up to this device. I have a feeling if I reset this will work a little bit better. But as you can see, we're spinning this around. I can't go, if I go up and down, that's going to actually be the camera itself. Now we're back to here. So 360 comes from this spinning base right here, which I can manually do as well. I could really just walk up to the camera and move it and keep going from there. But what's really cool about this is not only the fact that we can do 7 hours of recording from here. So I could put this high up in the rafters. And yeah, I could then put a little screw in there just to make sure it's absolutely affixed to the camera and then be able to run it from there. Now, let's go ahead and test of the cable being more than just a charge. Okay, a little bit of extra work here. So what this is the OBSBOT Ethernet to USB, and this is actually a power over Ethernet. So these link lights should be going off right now, but they're not because it's plugged into the 360 base. If I was to actually unplug it here and plug it into the right into the OBSBOT Tail Air, then I'll reset, and then there's our link lights right there. So this thing does not pass through data, it only passes power. Unfortunately, this thing cannot be used just for the PoE ability. So you'll have to plug this into a physical wall power USB socket as you go. Same thing here. If we refresh this, the Mastermind on Air, we'll see it as a wired connection because it's plugged into here. But then unless you have a way to keep the cord from tangling, then you won't be able to use the option from here. So unfortunately, that is not an option, but with this is supposed to be 7-hour battery, so this can still charge. This can still be charging the device. You'll just won't have that 360 ability if you have it plugged in wired. If you don't want to use the phone, then we've got the regular, this is the OBSBOT remote, which is great. And this is running the 360 unit. So as you can see, it's turning the whole unit. It's not just turning the head. So when it gets attached to that 360 unit, the head becomes static. The whole point is I can get this into a 360 motion. I can also probably set up some calls so I can have it turn wherever it needs to turn from there. So if you've got a table and let's say 4 people sitting around the table, then you could actually have that camera right in the middle, and then you could turn it to the person that you want to at each side of the table, and have some fun with that and little camera shots or anything. But if you don't use it for that, all you have to do, it's 7-hour base right here to keep your battery charged for your unit. And once again, it does have the threaded screw option in there, although there doesn't come with a threaded screw. So you could actually put something in to stabilize that. I would most likely put a threaded screw in, but the top of it's not threaded. So I just place this on here and at least it has some extra ability to stay on. But as you saw, I lifted this up and it stayed on to the base, magnetic. But as you saw with the magnetics, it stayed on the base pretty well. As it went, you can see it kind of do a shake as I'm lifting it, trying to figure out where it is. So, but anyway, right now we've got 3 lights on this side of the batteries, and on this side we have 2. If at any point, if we want to, we can pop out one of the 2 batteries. We still have the battery in here that's fully charged. We have part of the battery here. We can take this base right here, and then we can just pop in the battery and then let that charge on USB as well. So you could have you could get a couple more batteries. You could have them charged in here. You can pop them in and out as you go. So this could go more than 7 hours, depending on how many batteries you get for your device. A fun little device that actually increases the ability of the OBSBOT Tail Air to do more recording, because when I've ever taken this out to record a live band, if I don't have these plugged in, usually after one set, these cameras' battery will be done. So having an extra battery attached to it is always a great thing.
So of course, now we got the 360 camera on there, and of course I got to turn it on so it will activate. There we go. And now when I start walking around, it will start to follow me. If it doesn't see me, the camera will actually show a little yellow flash on their little tally light thing. But as I'm walking around, I can continue to walk around in a 360 manner. And as you can see, the whole camera is moving, so the microphones will stay with me as I'm talking. And then, of course, I come around here, and I am in 360 mode. Let's see if we can get the camera to stop following. There we go. It's doing pretty good. Let's try it again a little bit faster as I'm walking around. Now, of course, there's not a lot of people around here, so I don't know what would happen if it started to catch another face or anything like that. And of course, I suppose with the zoom in and out option, there we go. Let's see how that works as I continue to walk. What if I do this and go like this? It's still finding me. It's still seeing me. If I do the back of the head, will it still see me? Will it still see me? No, it lost me there. So it's looking for the face. That's the important thing as it's going. But once it sees me again, it's catching up. I could literally be walking around in a park talking to you guys using the onboard microphones. That's what we're using right now with a little bit of noise control. And as you can see, I can really get a good movement of myself as I'm talking to the camera. Then again, when I'm done, all I have to do is raise my hand and it's saying, okay, now it's static. Now I can walk off frame. All great stuff from our geeks over at OBSBOT, but this is the one thing that's really geeky. The ability to do secure, reliable transport from the OBSBOT to a vMix, from the OBSBOT to an SRT server. So you could actually be in a completely different location, giving an interview using your OBSBOT,
showing people how to cook using your OBSBOT, being part of a show using your OBSBOT. You won't need all the equipment that I have on my table. Let's show you how the SRT works. All right, so I've been part of a beta program. It's what's called SRT, Secure Reliable Transport. What is Secure Reliable Transport? This is a video streaming protocol designed to deliver high-quality video at lowest latencies. How low latencies? Well, it really depends on where you are, what your bandwidth is, and everything like that. But we've gotten video down to about 63 milliseconds, and that is across country. I'm here in Wisconsin. My friend Guy Cochran, he's in Seattle. We tested it out with the SRT from my location to his location, and we had some great results in 4K, not just 1080p, not just 720p, but a full 4K in the highest quality that the OBSBOT can give you. Here are some really cool features about SRT. The biggest one is it can be an encrypted signal. Let's say I'm interviewing for a major cable news network. I can send an encrypted SRT to their servers so they can do the interview and then get it out there without anybody trying to hijack or watch what I'm doing, what I'm saying. One of the features of SRT is minimal packet loss. And of course, it's still working on it. I have found some problems with this, but for the most part, we've been able to get pretty solid SRT signal going from one spot to the other. An encrypted signal does require a little bit more bandwidth on both parties' parts, so that if you decide to use encrypted signals, you got to remember that it's going to take up a little bit more just to get that signal across. Enough talking about it. Let's dive into this and show you how the SRT will work, how to set it up, and how to initiate. So what we have here, of course, we got the Tail Air, and then of course the Tail Air app. We're going to go into the camera. We're already connected up to my Wi-Fi here. So we're going to hit the camera and we're going to turn this. There's my camera. I'll just bring this up so you have something pretty to look at. Like so. There we go. Boom, like that. So as if you've ever used this app before, you know exactly what it's all about. There's a new feature inside. So we go down to the ellipsis side right here. We have a new option. It's called SRT Mode. There's 3 different places that we're going to go to. We've got it turned on because, of course, you're seeing that in my video. So I'm just going to turn it off for now. We've got the SRT mode, the SRT settings, and then, of course, the media settings. These 3 things you need to be aware of. We're going to start with our media settings, and we're going to scroll over to where it is. It shares it with NDI and RTS key. And this basically tells you, do you want the encoding to be H.264 or H.265? Do you want the bit rate to be high, medium, or low? And do you want the resolution to be 720p, 1080p, or 4K? Now, I've done all 3. All 3 work really well. We're doing this video at 1080p, so we're going to leave this at 1080p. So once we've got that set up, we can go back here. The next thing we need to do is we need to set up the SRT settings. Now, this gets a little bit tricky because there's 2 types of settings that you have to set up. One as a listener, one as a caller, and it really depends on how they have it set up for you. Like for instance, this OBSBOT is a listener when it comes to going to my VMix, but when I went to Guy's machine in Seattle, I was a caller. When you have to go over the network to a server, an SRT server, that's when you become the caller. And the listener is simply just that. You're sending out the signal from this IP address, and then you can pick it up on the other device. What you have is when you're a listener, you set up your local IP address, which is usually the IP address of the OBSBOT tail. The port that it's going through, and you can choose many different ports. 5,000 is what I chose here. That's pretty much the default. You can call it the stream ID. You can also set up encryption. You press that, you can say what type of encryption, and then the password. We're not going to do that for here. And then, of course, the delay. This is very important. If you are having a lot of skipping inside of your video, then you'll want to change the delay. Right now we have it set to 120 milliseconds. That works pretty well with my setup, but we've gotten it down to 63 milliseconds. You might have to bump it up to like 500, 1,000 milliseconds, but you can also bump it down. Let's move over to the caller settings. Yeah, we didn't make any changes, so that's fine. This is where you can create your SRT streams. This is the SRT stream that I created to get to Guy in Seattle. It's going to start with a host, which has to have an IP number that has to travel across the internet. Now, if you don't have one of those, you can get a service like NoIP that allows you to set that up so you have a connection for maybe your home server, your home SRT, so you can bring callers in. You have the remote port. That's the same thing, the 5,000, whatever you decide for the port. You don't have to choose 5,000, but it has to be a port that's not being used by something else. Let's keep that in mind. That's why I allow them to use 5,000. You have the stream ID, the delay. Once again, if you are seeing a lot of skips, you want to change the delay to a higher number, but you can challenge it and really get down. So if you're having a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you don't have a lot of pauses in between. You know, like with satellite where they say, let's go to John out in God knows where. What are you doing, John? And then John just stands there like, yeah, it's a great day out here. You get the idea. So this is bringing the latency down so low that you can actually have a conversation back and forth and maybe not skip over each other's words. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, once again, the encryption, you can choose that and you can choose your encryption type and the password as you go. So those are the two, the caller and the listener. And what happened there is I went back and said you didn't save your settings, and that's okay because we didn't have any settings to save. So we're going to switch it back to listener because that's how I have it set up here. Now, if you have a listener, you definitely also have a caller, and that's what I have on my vMix. I have the IP address and the same port 5,000, and of course, if there's encryption or anything like that, that's all going to happen in my setup on vMix. If this is listener, then the vMix is caller. If this is caller, then vMix is listener. And of course, you're going to, it really depends on the situation. So once again, you might want to do a little bit of review on there. So, but in this situation, right now, this is set up as listener and the vMix is set up as caller. So we'll go back here. And then once you have that all configured, all you have to do is hit the toggle. And it's going to say, hey, you know, if you use SRT, you can't use NDI, you can't use UVC, you can't use RTSP, no live stream. I believe you can still record though. So if you do have any type of major internet glitch and this is something that can be post-processed, then you can record it from here or probably from your phone as well. So let's go ahead and hit done, and we'll even test it as we go. Let's test it as we go. So. All right, so now SRT is back on and I'm seeing it working over here. And what I'm gonna do, since there is a latency between this microphone and the microphone from the video from there, I'm gonna use the audio from this. So it's gonna be an audio change really quick, like this. There we go. It is now SRT. There is a little bit of a delay and there might be a little bit of skipping because once again, I didn't do the fine tuning that I should have done. But right now, audio and video is going through here. So we do have audio video sync, and that's the important thing. And of course, it's not set up right. So let's get it up on the pedestal so we have at least an eye to eye view. So there is a little bit of latency, so I can't watch that video or else I'm going to get completely confused here. And of course, it's also going to depend on how fast your computer is, how much, what type of graphics cards inside, things like that. But the best part about this is, once again, I can have a conversation from a person on another network coming in. I can secure this, bring it in, do the conversation, whether it be a meeting, whether it be something for broadcast television or anything like that. The other cool thing about SRT is there are ways where a remote person could control the SRT camera. And that's an extra program that you could put onto your computer to do a true remote interview with somebody. So all they'd have to do is get this set up right here, put it on their table, and get the camera eye level as possible, and then connect up, and then somebody can do the rest from a different location. I'm going to tell you right now that this has just come out as beta. So there are still a few glitches that I found, like for instance, switching from H.264 to H.265, and of course, latency. That can all get trimmed up with a quick update or two. So, and I've seen this before with these types of cameras. You get a firmware update in there, and then all of a sudden, everything just works like magic. For the most part, with the updates that are on here, the SRT is pretty decent. You're watching right now, you're watching the connection between me and Guy in Seattle, and it was going back and forth. It was on a Zoom session. So basically what happened is I did the SRT into his vMix system. His vMix then went to a Zoom room so I could actually see what was going on. I did see a little bit of latency. Once we got it down to 63 milliseconds, it was kind of tolerable. When we did that, we were in the Zoom room, so I could see the difference, the latency between what I was talking in the Zoom room, which is pretty low. And then, of course, through the SRT, going to vMix, going back into the Zoom room, and coming back to me. So it was looping from here to Seattle, back to here in Wisconsin. So it traveled a few thousand miles just for my video, and the latency between the two is amazing. Trying it once again, if you do it with encryption, it won't be 63 milliseconds. It'll be a little bit longer because it's packaging everything up into a secure box, sending it off to the other location, depacking it, and then running it through. So that takes a little bit more time to do, but that's it. That is the SRT mode. And of course, when you're done with the SRT mode, all you have to do is go in and turn it off like that. Boom. Said we would do the test really quick. So we'll turn the SRT back on. So we're running the SRT. We'll bring this and we'll hit this button. And it looks like we can record to the SD card from here. If we go RTMP, it's saying currently in SRT mode. If we try to YouTube, we try Facebook, you get the idea. So nothing will allow it to do this, but we can record it. So we'll just hit the start button and go from there. And there you go. A lot of cool stuff from OBSBOT, from the 360, the UVC to NDI. So I can put a tiny, and you can put it up into the rafters and then use that as an overall shot. And then of course the Tail Air remote, which is a great little device, especially if you have more than one Tail Air. That's pretty much it from OBSBOT. Lots of cool stuff here. So tell me, what OBSBOT devices do you have? Which ones really excite you coming up from OBSBOT? Let me know in the comments below over at Geekazine.com, YouTube.com/Geekazine, where you can like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification so you know all those YouTubers get their wings when you do that. It's also going to let you know when the next video comes up from Geekazine. So until next time, you guys geek out and stream on with OBSBOT and all the cool stuff from OBSBOT, including SRT support.